I want to talk about God's presence, His power, and His purpose because I believe that it will help us in our relationship with the Triune God. And that's coming up next on our learning. Jesus has just completed teaching using parables. And then the Bible tells us on the same day when evening had come, He said to them, "Let us go over to the other side." Now, when they had left the multitude, they took him along in the boat as he was. And other little boats were also with him. And a great windstorm arose, and the waves beat into the boat so that it was already filling. But he, Jesus Christ, was in the stern, asleep on a pillow. And they woke him and said to him, "Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?" Jesus said to the disciples, "Let us go over to the other side." So, my first point is this: His presence. The presence of God reminds us that He will never leave us, nor will He forsake us. For God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in the time of trouble. Therefore, we will not fear. And as the disciples were crossing over to the other side, maybe they should have remembered the Psalm of David. Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I ascend into heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the other parts of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me. God is always present. Then Christ arose and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Peace, be still." And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. So, just as important as it is to be in His presence, we must also understand His power. For His power shows us that no weapon formed against us will prosper. I don't care how big the enemy, Goliath, or how crazy the person is, Jezebel. There is no greater power than the power of God. However, if you do not believe or even understand, then the devil will try to reinforce that unbelief. He will try to show you that if God's power was so great, why are you going through that storm in the first place? Or why are you dealing with that illness? Why did you lose your job? Or why is your family in such a disarray? The disciples said, "Who is this that even the wind and the sea obey him?" You see, they did not truly understand. They did not truly know. But since we know that he is omnipotent and that he will never leave us nor will he forsake us, we must trust not in human wisdom, but in the power of God. And if all things work together for the good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose, then I believe the purpose of this trip was to teach them about fear and faith. Jesus said, "Why are you so fearful? How is it that you have no faith?" I believe Christ did everything for a reason. And since he knew of their lack of faith, a lesson in faith was needed. For you see, he knew that the storm would rise. And if all things are working for our good, according to his purpose, then it stands to reason that we must learn of his purpose for our lives. I believe God has a plan and purpose for our lives to all of us who follow him. But if we do not take the time to learn of that purpose, I believe we miss out on the opportunity to fulfill our destiny. Do you really believe that God has taken the time to pour into you and pour into me all that we are just for us to sit by the wayside? For the Lord has made everything for his own purpose. And though you can make many plans, the Lord's purpose will prevail. They were in his presence, but failed to believe and failed to understand his power. And because they failed to believe and understand his power, they allow fear to dominate. Can you imagine for a moment if while in the presence of God, they remembered and understood his power and calmly rested until the storm was over? Storms will come, but as long as we are aware of his presence, his power, and his purpose, we will prevail. My brothers and sisters, be blessed.